Slaughtering is the process of killing the animals, most commonly domestic livestock. The animals will generally be slaughtered for food, but they could also be slaughtered for other reasons such as being diseased and unfit for consumption. Initial cutting is used to remove the entrails and offal from the major body cavities, but the carcass is normally left in one piece. Cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, deer, horses, poultry, insects and fish are the most commonly butchered animals for consumption. In Islam, slaughtering act is called zabiha. Zabiha is the Islamic law term for the ritual slaughter of all permissible halal animals. Several conditions must be fulfilled when slaughtering legal animals. The butcher must praise in the name of Allah Bismillah after each halal animal is slaughtered separately. It must consist of a Swiss deep incision on the throat with a very sharp knife, cutting the windpipe, jugular veins and carotid arteries on both sides but leaving the spinal cord intact. The method is used to comply to the Quran's and Islamic tradition requirements. In Malaysia, there are standard operation procedure for halal slaughtering. Malaysia Protocol for the Halal Meat and Poultry Production was developed by the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia JAKIM to give clear guidance in the production of halal meat and poultry. This protocol is intended to support the implementation of Malaysia's requirements for halal meat, poultry and their products, including those intending to export to Malaysia under the Animal Act 1953, revised 2006. It shall be used together with Malaysia Standard MS 1500-2009 Halal Food Production, Preparation, Handling and Storage General Guidelines. The scope of this protocol are to be prescribed practical guidelines for abattoir and poultry, processing plan on slaughtering, study method, further dressing process, storage and transportation of halal meat, poultry
And now we move on to problem statement. Slaughtering process includes all parties of the meat production supply chain, such as breeders, slaughterhouse management, producers, distributors and consumers. Halal Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) used by any manufacturers and producers in their slaughterhouses have different rules and regulations in different governments. So the problem is, it was found that the manufacturers or producers in some countries frequently do not concern themselves, especially regarding the Halal Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) for slaughtering technique. Next part, we move on to literature review. First is slaughtering process in Malaysia itself. So, the publication of Malaysia Protocol for Halal Meat and Poultry Production 2006 really meets the needs of this study. So, the purpose of this protocol is to support the implementation of halal production, preparation, handling and storage to produce good quality of halal products. So this protocol is applicable to all establishments, especially in Malaysia, producing halal meat, poultry and their products. So according to this protocol, there are many requirements that are stated in this halal slaughtering procedure, such as animals shall be ritually slaughtered by a Muslim slaughterman. Animals to be slaughtered have to be animals that are halal, alive or deemed to be alive, and slaughtering knife shall be sharp and clean. The differences in Malaysia between other countries is the uniqueness on halal slaughtering itself, because they hire a Muslim halal checker to ensure and check the proper way of halal slaughter, the stunning operation, proper bleeding, determination of death prior to dressing operations, handling of non-compliance carcasses, and ensure the internal halal control system in the establishment. Second, we move on to slaughtering process in Indonesia. So, in Indonesia, about 20 chicken slaughterhouses in Makassar, Indonesia have halal certificates from LPPOM/MUI, while the others are illegal. So, to manage the needs of chicken breeding, it would require a large number of juleha halal slaughtermen who already have a certificate as a halal slaughter. Next is the requirements or the elements that determines the halalness of slaughter process is the slaughtering knife. So Malaysia and Indonesia have the same protocol, which is the knife must be in accordance with the provisions of Sharia compliance, which the knife should be contain no elements of nails, teeth and bones on materials, very sharp, which is able to cut easily without excessive force, produced to be so smooth that it does not hurt the animal much and does not cause any pain to the animal, and forbidden to be sharpened in front of the animal that soon to be slaughtered. So this is the basic elements that must be followed to all countries that have halal meat and poultry. So in this research, the slaughtering procedure is divided into two parts, which is how to process and how to store and present. For how to process, they use the same SOP as the other country from start till the end, which is the slaughterman must be Muslim, baligh, knowledgeable and familiar with Islamic slaughter procedures. Basmalah must be read by the slaughterer prior to slaughter. The animal to be slaughtered must be still alive, and animals are slaughtered with them facing the Qiblah, and the slaughter is done in the neck till the blood is radiated. For how to store and present, the halal food should be stored properly and not exposed to or mixed with unclean food when it comes to storing and preparing. So, the preparation equipment, the place of slaughtering and processing, storage must be clean and hygienic, free of filth and impurities, free of any prohibited materials.
Slaughtering procedures in Singapore. According to Majlis Ugama Islam Singapore (MUIS), all life of halal animals involved in the slaughtering process must be slaughtered in the most human manner possible, which causing the animals at least the amount of suffering. The slaughterer must be a Muslim in both manual and automatic slaughtering. The slaughter blade must be made of metal, extremely sharp and not serrated. To ensure continuous sharpness, a comprehensive procedure must be in place to ensure that the knife is regularly maintained. For each slaughter, the knife used for the slaughter should be inspected for any chipping and sharpened. For automatic slaughtering, the animals should be positioned with the blade only cut the front section of the neck and no other body part. Before being slaughtered, the animal should be alive. The windpipe and gullet of the animal must cut both. The slaughter is invalid if only one of them is cut. Although the slaughter is still legal, it is makruh to completely cut the head. The animal should be rested and properly fed before being slaughtered. The holding area for the animals should not be located near the slaughterhouse so that the animals in there are unable to hear or see the slaughtering taking place. The animals and the slaughterer should, whenever possible, face the direction of Qiblah before performing the slaughter. The slaughterer or the person who turns on the automatic slaughtering machine should recite Bismillah during the process. The depth of the cut in automatic slaughtering should be sufficient to cut both the windpipe and the gullet, but not to fully sever the head. The person in charge needs to check all of the animals that have been positioned for slaughter to make sure they are still alive, and that animal should be removed, or it will be considered invalid and prohibited to be eaten. The animal should be left to die after the slaughtering process is completed, before any skinning or defeathering processes begin. Before proceeding, any jerking motion from the animal should be allowed to subside until it entirely stops. Halal criteria versus conventional slaughter technology. Fasting of animals before slaughtering. Nowadays, fasting ruminants during transportation and fair age at the slaughterhouse is recommended to lower the volume of stomach contents and reducing the danger of carcass contamination during dressing, especially in hot climates. Pre-slaughter feed was designed to ensure animal welfare according to the Islamic law standards. However, today, feed withdrawal is required. Council Regulation EC number 1099/2009 mentioned animals that have not been slaughtered within 12 hours of their arrival shall be fed and be provided amounts of food at appropriate intervals. It is because fasting for more than 24 hours has a negative impact on some meat quality features and elevates psychological stress in these in lambs, which is not suggested. Stunning. Preventing anxiety, pain, suffering and distress in animals before and throughout the slaughtering process is the goal of stunning. Animal slaughter without stunning involves the use of a highly competent staff to handle the animals and conduct the bleeding. Because of the animal welfare, stunning animals prior to slaughter is common and logical. It might be done soon after the throat cutting to limit animal suffering till loss of consciousness, while also meeting halal regulation, making it both human and religiously correct at the same time. The benefits of appropriately conducted high-frequency pre-slaughter electrical stunning provide efficient bleeding and enhanced meat and carcass quality. It is confirmed that stunning before slaughter can be used if the following three conditions are met. The stunning must be reversible and not kill or injure the animal permanently. A skilled Muslim slaughterman or supervisor should perform the stunning, which should be monitored by a competent Islamic authority or halal certification agency on a regular basis. The stunning device used on pig should never be utilized on halal slaughter animals. Position of animal's body after slaughtering. Because Muslims are prohibited from consuming blood, the goal of set up the slaughtering position is to improve the likelihood of maximum blood outflow by applying pressure to the heart. When killing animals for halal purpose, they should be put on their left flank, preferably facing the Qibla. Animals should be shackled and lifted only after bleeding and when the animal has lost consciousness. The hoisting of conscious animals by the hind leg, restraining in the upright or standing position, restraining cattle by inverting them on their backs, and lateral recumbency has been used in modern halal slaughterhouse over the years. It is because of their substantial weight and the structure of the digestive system, elevating cattle by the hind leg when fully conscious which causes significant discomfort and avoidable suffering for animals. Most halal slaughterhouses choose to hold cattle in the lateral recumbency position at a 90-degree angle and resting on their side. Location of the incision. According to the hadith, the slaughtering cut must be done on the neck, just below the gullet and the core of the neck. In addition to the esophagus and trachea, the jugular veins and carotid arteries also need to be cut. Furthermore, the incision must be made around the lower jaw on the ventral side of the neck and must not reach the spine. This means that the head should not be entirely detached from the body during slaughter, as blood can continue to flow to the brain through the vertebral arteries, which delays loss of consciousness. The slaughter process must be carried out quickly in one continuous movement with no interruption, uncertainty or unnecessary pauses. In halal slaughter cattle, performing the neck cut at the higher position than the traditional low cut on the neck reduces the time to loss of posture and reducing following suffering such as false aneurysm. It was indicated that in halal slaughter without stunning, using high neck cut strategy could lessen the welfare compromise caused by delayed time to loss of consciousness. Mechanical slaughtering. To correctly accomplish slaughter, a sharp knife without scratches and nicks of a reasonable length, which is 2 to 4 times the size of the animal's neck, should be used. According to the Quran, the phrase Bismillah Allahu Akbar should be said loudly by the slaughterman when slaughtering, and the animals should be alive. When slaughtering each chicken in a large-scale poultry processing facility, the slaughterman will repeat this proclamation aloud. The Standing Committee for Scientific Research and Issuing Fatwas, Islamic Judgment, issued a fatwa to this effect, stating that when operating a mechanical slaughter equipment in chicken slaughterhouse, it is sufficient to say this sentence once. 3 of the 5 chicken slaughterhouses that practice halal slaughter with stunning use an automatic horizontal rotary knife for neck cutting. Hence, slaughter and performance of the act by the slaughterman, followed by the invocation of the prayer before incision, are necessary under halal standards. In general, continuous human or closed-circuit video supervision of such mechanical processes in all poultry slaughterhouses is required to maintain proper neck position of bird.
Now we move on to finding and results. So in this segment, it discusses the main objective of identifying the core components of the halal standard operating procedure (SOP) for the slaughtering process. So this table shows that there are 2 types of core component, which is equipment used and the separation of dead and alive meats. So as we can see that the equipment illustrate the optimal use of the 3 countries. Regarding the process, Indonesia and Singapore are quite similar to Malaysia. So they use manual methods by using sharp knives and conventional methods by using a slaughtering machine to start the slaughtering process rather than using stunning methods. Next, the separation between the dead and alive meat. So according to this result, both Singapore and Malaysia are using quite similar procedures to differentiate between animals that have been slaughtered and the non-halal conformance carcasses, while Indonesia did not state in their guidelines. So this separation of dead animals should be removed as it will be impossible to distinguish between a live and a dead animal after slaughtering. As conclusion, precise slaughter methods reduce pain and maintain the quality of the end product, especially halal slaughtered meat. And the government also plays the important role in inspecting the meat industry every month. So this will help producers and manufacturers to be more alert to follow all the rules and regulations that are restricted in their own countries.